Good morning, Claire.
Hey, good morning. Ange, how are you?
Good. Um, keeping busy with life and Logan's stuff. He's got new things evolving for his career path. I don't know if I mentioned, but he wants to join the Marines.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
I guess I haven't announced it.
Wow, what made him
Yeah.
want to join that branch?
Uh, well, that's the recruiter that showed up at the school for career
Okay.
day. So I think that's what created an interest. Perhaps if the Navy or another thing would have been there, maybe that would have been appealing to him. I mean, just with military as a whole, but he's been just late. Well, he had to take two different tests. So there's the PICAT and the ASVAB. And so he did a test on one and then an official on the other. So I'm still learning the lingo, but basically, you need to score in a certain range for certain jobs. And he's looking at like the law, perhaps something in law within the military. Then he's looking at police. And there was a third one, and they all require high scores, like 95 or 100. And he scored within the different categories like 112, 117. So
Wow.
yeah, he's going this weekend to what's called MEPS. So they do some of that initial like physical and testing, and then they confirm in person his test scores, like just make sure he wasn't cheating. And then he can pick out a job, and hopefully that gets landed and confirmed in the contract. And so we'll see. Monday, I go down to the office and just kind of go over everything with them. But we are still making him apply to GCU. And
Slopes up.
yeah, figure you might appreciate that. Um, yeah, and just to make sure, like, you never know, he's got time before he graduates in May. So it's best to have all ducks prepared. And he just has to get a yes for acceptance. And then he doesn't have to like register. But we just want him to, you never know. Like, life has turns. And when you're this age, things come up. But we just want success. So that's the Logan update. Plus, he turned 17 on this last Saturday. So
Oh my gosh. Wow,
yeah.
that's huge. That's amazing. If he ever wants to talk to my dad was in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So yeah, he could at least talk to someone who's been through it and can
Mhm.
maybe give him some tips going into that. That's huge. Wow, very exciting. I love that. That's huge
Yeah.
news.
Yeah. So we'll save other news for other podcasts. That's kind of a big one. But Claire, how have you been? What's happening? Anything cool going on?
Nothing much. Same old, just working away, trying to start some new endeavors and uh cold plunging in my amazing cold plunge on my balcony, which has been such a game changer for me. And just switching up my workout routine lately, doing something different all the time and really having fun with it. So
That's
that's
great.
it.
I love it. I love it. I love the self-care and trying new things because that's what we are about as well.
It's what life's about.
Yep. No
And
stagnant.
no stagnant, always moving. I'm really excited for today's topic because it's something that I feel like a lot of people kind of have a gray area about. And
Mhm,
I used to as well. So I'm especially passionate about seed oils because
mhm.
they're in so many healthy products. So it's really hard to know
Distinguish.
that they're bad and to distinguish like why are they bad, which I'm all about the whys, like why am I
Mhm.
doing this? And so I'm really excited to dive into what are seed oils, where might you find them, and why should you try to minimize them. So
Well,
yeah.
let's hear, because I definitely could use some of the education, and Um, there are certain seed oils, like in chips, that I'm just kinda not quite there to give up, but I I mean, it's just hard. But, education and minimizing, like you said, is key, so let's hear it.
Yes, and there's always some alternatives. So I'll talk a little bit about that too. So then you don't have to give up your chips. You could just find a chip that maybe has a better oil in there. So,
Totally.
so what are the different seed oils? So the seed oils are going to be ones like sunflower oil, canola, corn oil, safflower, or soybean oil. So I just want to talk about the form of the processing of these oils because all of them are so different, but the seed oils are the most processed kinds of oils. And since I'm a more like, I want to know what it is, how it works, I think this was really helpful for me to see. So, especially because overall, like, for example, the doctor that I work with, he mentioned when he goes to all these medical conferences, the one thing that everyone agreed on, whether like through phases, it's been like low fat, like low carb, like whatever the rage is, whatever the fad
Mhm.
diet is what would be talked about. And he was like, the one thing that everyone always agreed on, no matter what, every year was that you should minimize processed foods. So
Yes.
that's so important. Seed oils are super processed. So basically, the seeds are crushed and they're mixed with a solvent, which is generally hexane.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah, I've seen that ingredient.
Yeah, so that extracts the oil, and then the oil is evaporated, like, or is heated up to evaporate the hexane, and then it's refined to increase the shelf life and give it a more neutral taste. And then it goes through a degumming process, and then it's bleached, so it goes on, and then it's heated again under a
I'm, like, in
vacuum.
shock. I'm in
to
shock because that's a lot of work just to make something. I
Yeah.
mean, essentially, like, the process is just ridiculous.
Yep. And so then it's heated one last time under a vacuum to deodorize it. I can't imagine what it smells like before they do that.
Oh,
But
no.
yeah, so I was really shocked to see that process. And I know all of them are different. I know specifically with things like corn oil, it
Mhm.
takes I think they said you would have to go through like 40 stalks of corn for like 1 tablespoon of it. So if you think about uh like how many like stalks of corn you would have to go through for that. It's just not healthy. Not healthy. I forgot the exact number, but I'm just throwing that out there. I just know it's an
Oh,
extravagant amount of corn in a very small amount of corn oil.
wow.
So why should you care about this? So if you, for example, have gut issues, inflammatory issues. So anything
Mhm.
inflammatory at all, you have maybe a constant rash or you have constant joint pain, different things like that.
Mhm.
That's something to pay attention to because when you're putting processed foods in your diet, especially things like seed oils that might be hidden in some of the foods that you're eating, that it might be in that ingredients label, then you're increasing your risk of inflammatories, which affects all aspects of your health. They're also very high in omega-6 fatty acids. So you want to have a good like balance between the omega-6s, omega-3 fatty acids, and this could increase your likelihood of heart disease if you have an extreme amount of omega-6, which is what is in here.
Mhm.
Also, they're polyunsaturated fats. The monounsaturated is more what you want to go towards, but with polyunsaturated, they're chemically unstable and they're more prone to oxidation. So when they're exposed to light, heat, or air, they can damage your cells, contribute to aging. That's a big one. I'm huge on longevity, so this one struck me because I don't want to age faster. So
No.
I'm going to try to minimize these as much as possible. I know you're the same way, Ange.
Mhm.
Um, and then with that increase of inflammation, you can increase the risk of cancer, cardiovascular disease. so many health issues like metabolic syndrome, which actually 1 in 3 people have a form of metabolic syndrome. And that is just going to continue to get worse with all of the processed foods that
Do you want
we're
to
consuming.
share just what that metabolic syndrome means, just to educate anyone who may not know what that translates to?
Yes. So metabolic syndrome, that means basically your body is not metabolizing food the same way as someone who is metabolically uh what's the word? Sensitive. So if you're metabolically resistant, that means your insulin levels are off. When you consume food, it's more likely to be stored as fat. You're going to want to be more like low carb, because when you eat carbohydrates, it's all going to be just stored as fat. That's why a lot of people have different issues with imbalances, and they might have more glucose spikes than others. So if
Mhm.
someone's struggling to lose weight, it's probably best to get checked with your doctor and find out that
So, oh yeah, go ahead.
if you are metabolically healthy, just to uh, make sure that your body is working correctly. Because if you're trying everything it feels like and you're not losing weight, chances are you have metabolic syndrome and
Right.
there's something
It's
off.
the body's ability to burn,
Yeah.
basically. The 101 version. But yeah, I mean I mean
Simplified.
it's totally all of this what you've shared is already an example of like you are what you eat, right? And
Hmm.
why we have in other podcasts encouragement to like eat the rainbow. Um and of course with the different avenues people are trying to get healthy and like lean out, just like you said, it doesn't mean if it's in the organic section or in a healthy part of the you're shopping at Trader Joe's and or whatever, it doesn't mean that's actually really good for you. So it's understanding this on the label and really reading how what's going on in there. Cuz to me I
Exactly.
just imagine like plastic. I mean, we wouldn't just eat plastic. Like imagine just like consuming a plastic bag or even a hard plastic. You know, like we're that's like poison, right? And somehow we're coating things of that like these products, food items with this product. I mean, that's how my brain kind of pictures it. And then what it's like doing into our body and coding and doing weird things that we just can't physically see or we can't physically see but we physically feel or have side effects to. It's just
Exactly.
scary. It's so scary.
Yes. And it is scary too, because some people might not have an initial side effect of it. It's just
Mhm.
going to be a long-term thing that if you're
The
consuming it
buildup.
a little bit, yeah, a little bit every day, it's like you're
Mhm.
not going to see that initial effect, but over time, you're going to realize it once you have heart disease in 20 years. I mean,
Mhm.
that heart disease that people get, that started when they were 30. Like that
Mhm.
started to lead up to that when
Or
they were
even
at a younger age.
younger.
Mm,
Yeah, I was to say, like, just
absolutely.
imagine going down the aisle for like all the kids' snacks. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
really young starting.
I think back to when I only ate processed foods. That was it. No Whole
Yeah.
Foods. Like
Oh yeah.
literally none.
My mom's pantry was basically a glorified Costco. I mean,
Yes.
it just anything and everything it was there with I mean, I shop at Costco, so but it's just the processed packaging like, you know, I had like Chips Ahoy cookies or Oreos in my lunch and I had like Lunchables that is like not even real meat. Like,
Yes.
oh man.
If it could be cooked in less than 6 minutes, it was probably in my pantry.
Yeah. Right? Um, but
So
yeah, what an eye opener.
yes, it's and also so since they're refined so much, because you could look at it and be like, oh, it's just corn oil, like it's made of corn. How bad could it be? But it's like, okay, once it's it's gotten heated, it's gotten hexane mixed in with it, it's gotten heated again, it's gotten degummed, like it's gone through
Mhm.
this whole process. What nutritional value could it really have left in it?
Right.
Can't
Yeah.
imagine. But also, so this was interesting. I was doing research on this and I found that it actually has traces of trans fats that they don't have to like mention that because it's small traces. But if you think about it, if you're consuming a lot of that over time, like that's really bad because trans fats are the worst fats that you can get. Like I don't
Mhm.
even think legally they can put trans fats in our food, but that increases your LDL levels, decreases your HDL, which is your low density lipoproteins, your uh,
Mhm.
cholesterol, the basically the bad cholesterol, and then it decreases the good cholesterol. So especially if you have a heart disease of a family history of heart disease or a family history of cholesterol issues, something to also take into consideration.
Mhm.
And then I want to talk about, of course, like what can you do to avoid these, and also where might you find these? So, like you said, the Trader Joe's is really big on this. I love hummus so much,
Mhm.
and it is impossible. Trader Joe's has zero good hummus, and so looking at
Yeah.
different salad dressings, maybe hummus in different like pesto,
Mhm.
uh, so like pretty much everything there is gonna have a type of seed oil in it. So read those ingredients labels. That is so important
There's a
because
there's a
yes.
couple apps that, you can scan, and I need to download them, but I don't mean to be negative about Trader Joe's because I have shopped with them for a long time, and there are things within the store that I do like, but I have found that even what I thought was clean because it's under their roof has,
Mhm.
like, been showing up when my friends scanned it, like, really bad, like, not even close to being remotely good, and that was some skincare stuff because I was looking for something more light and simple ingredients, and then it's like a big X on it, and I was
Yes.
in shock. So now I'm really being more mindful of, like, despite where I'm shopping, just because it's in this store, this
Mhm.
known health store, um, doesn't mean it's good. That's the
Yes.
hard thing to swallow.
Absolutely. So one thing that you could do, so I love the Yuka app because it's spelled Yuka, and that app you can scan any food, but you can also scan skin products or lotions
Yes.
or soaps or anything. See how toxic it is. See what the rating is. I love it because you can actually
Mhm.
it'll show you substitutions of what's actually good. So what's something that you could actually
I'm
find.
downloading now
I love it.
because I could
That
not
one's really
remember
good.
what it was called, and then, but yeah, downloading now.
Yeah, that app, and then Bobby Approved is another one. I know it does food. I'm not sure about skincare products, but that's
Mhm.
another one that's really good. It makes it easy because you don't have to do all the work. You can just scan it and make sure that it has cleaner ingredients. Then, and I agree, it's really sad. It's just like, oh, Trader Joe's. If Trader Joe's has it, it must be healthy. And then you look
Yeah.
at it and it's like, okay, it's good to keep an eye out. You're never safe, you know. You gotta be on your toes at all
Well,
times.
and the biggest thing is, like, reading labels, and that's something that we've chatted about again in various podcasts, but it's just so valuable to read the labels and really understand what do those words mean. And I'm
Mhm.
not, like, great at this. I know it, my application in is getting better, I should say. So, like, it's just improvement, like when you finish a tube of something or a jar of something, just replace it with the next best thing that is supplemental to that.
Exactly. Just small substitutions along the way. It makes such a big difference. It really does add up. Another thing to mention, so the Seed Oil Scout app, that one is so good. I love this app because for people who eat out a lot, it's a really good way to choose restaurants more wisely. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, where is only it'll show up red if the restaurant is only using seed oils. It'll be like you can't find a trace of an item without seed oils in it. And so it's really valuable to know what restaurants might be in your area because eating out is such a social thing. To avoid
Mm-hmm.
that completely is a little bit difficult. I mean, there's always a birthday, there's always something where you're celebrating
Right.
with a group. And I mean, cooking at home is always probably the best option, but with seed oils, it'll tell you like, oh, light green, this restaurant might have like most dishes without, or you can ask the restaurant to just not use seed oils, which is really cool. I never even thought about that. Like, hey, can
Wow.
you not use canola oil in my meal? And they'll be
Well,
like,
yeah,
yeah, no problem.
I don't order eggs out a lot because a lot of times I don't like the taste of them, but they must use like canola oil because it makes the not all places, but it just made the eggs taste really weird. And I like over medium. So it's like sitting in the pan of that. I'm like, this doesn't even taste, I just feel like I'm tasting oil.
Most likely they are using canola oil. That's a really common one in restaurants. I know my friend's restaurant that he works at in Montana, he was saying that they like douse canola oil before they cook anything on the grill. I'm like,
Uh,
it's at a really nice restaurant. So
oh, disheartening.
it is. And even Flower Child has a really low rating, actually. Like one of the healthy restaurants in Arizona.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sickening. But you know what? Honestly, because it's so cheap. I mean, obviously, if you are standing in that oil part of the grocery store and you have like canola, vegetable,
Mm-hmm.
olive, I mean, you're really paying a higher price, but you're investing into your body. Like that's the part we have to really translate is that price point is an investment to your health. And it's again just small changes, and as you like finish something or you're able to invest in that moment and throw away the other one, but it's we could all go through our pantries and rid of like probably hundreds of dollars in food, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the goal is just to make those changes and slowly transition out of it, and so it's not a financial burden. It's just an easy swap as things you're ready to go back to the store and replen.
Exactly. You can always too if the money's not a huge issue for it, but you have
Mhm.
stuff, donate it. Bring it to the food bank cuz some people like that's all they'll get, you know? So that like
Mhm.
it's like that frame of mindset. I remember when I first started learning this stuff, going through my pantry and just like taking hauls to the food bank and I felt like good about it and I was able to do something and then also like pay more for my health. It's pay now or pay more later. Like what do you want to do? Are you going to invest now or do you want to invest in your medical bills later? It just depends what you want to do, how you want to live your life. It's little things here and there makes a big difference. But other oils, so I'll just kind of finish it up with alternative oils. So things like olive oil, avocado oil, those are good. Those ones have a little bit higher of a smoke point. Coconut oil in moderation because that one does have saturated fats, which is one of the types of fats. Like the monounsaturated are the best, but
Mhm.
saturated you definitely want to do in moderation. I know with my own nutrition system, one serving of something with saturated fats a day is plenty. You don't really want to
Mhm.
do more than that. So stick to that. Butter or ghee, those are other options.
Oh, I
Just
love
trying to
ghee.
find, yeah, just trying to find like the best ones that you can find, not just getting like, I can't believe it's not butter. Trust me, it's all chemicals.
Yeah, I can't believe it's not poison. Oh, wait, did I say that out loud?
Butter, what's the Land Lakes? That one's like it literally
What?
says like with canola oil on it. And
I grew
sorry,
up
mom,
with that.
you need to
Yeah,
throw it away.
yeah, we use those as like Tupperware containers growing up. Like you finish the Land O'Lakes
Yes.
butter, and then it was like you're like, oh, look at all the butter we have in the fridge. No, there were leftovers sitting inside those. So
Oh
it's
my
like
god.
last night's leftovers were in those containers.
I actually
Oh,
don't know if I ever did that, but it's really smart.
well, I mean, things you did in the 80s, basically,
I'm surprised I didn't, to
growing
be
up.
honest.
Yeah. If I
I
find
love
if
it.
that meme comes across my, like, scrolling, I'll totally send it to you. 'Cause
Okay,
there
please.
was, like, a refrigerator of, like, what it was like to live in the 80s. It's like, you just have, like, a bunch of, like, you know, containers that food came in, but then your parents saved it and then used them as, like, Tupperware, so you
I
didn't
love
know. You're like, Wow, we have 10 tubes or tubs of butter in here." And it's like, "No, none of those are butter, they're leftovers."
Oh, that's hilarious. Yes, send it to me. I would love to see it. But yeah, so that's all I have. I would just say evaluate your pantry, see what has seed oils, identify it, maybe make a list, a grocery list or something where you could even just scan it in your house with the Yuka app. It's kind of fun. I actually I went in a rabbit hole when I found out about this app. I'm like
I'm
scanning
afraid of
everything at the
that.
grocery store. But you
Yeah.
could just scan the things in your pantry and it'll tell you the alternatives. So that's a great way to make your grocery
Oh,
list.
that's fantastic. I didn't know there was, like, other recommendations,
Yeah.
or lists of, like, things that would be better, I guess.
Yeah,
Oh,
it'll
this
say like
is
this is
great.
0 out of 100, but this one's 90 out of 100. So you could just write it down and grab that one next time. But yeah.
Yep.
All
Well,
right.
thanks,
Ange,
Claire.
what's your action for the day?
I'm gonna start scanning. I am, especially like some skincare products that I'm trying to transition, into some, things to put on your face when you're in your 40s. So I want to make sure what I'm doing is really beneficial and really clean ingredients and
What about
just to
seed oils?
yeah, well, yeah, that too. But I mean, I'm gonna scan all the I don't I should scan my chips, but I'll just know to read the label because I know what the oils I should stay away from.
They
And then I'll
have
be on the
do
hunt and find the good
siete.
ones. Yeah,
Siete. That's my favorite.
yeah, the hard part is our household goes through way too many bags of chips. So we buy the big cheaper bags, but of like the salt ones, the pink Himalayan salt, which again, like it's advertisement. So it's like, oh, pink Himalayan salt. This is so good for you. And then it's loaded with the bad oils. So,
Oh gosh.
but yeah, I will be scanning and slowly transitioning out the things I'll have Ange's shelf because I can only control what I eat.
There you
In a
go.
house full of like boys here that would probably eat Doritos if I purchased them, but I don't.
Good
No
job. Good job.
diets.
Good mom.
Yeah, that's mine. And then clarification, what do you got for us for the episode?
Is just because it is in a healthy product or the product is marketed as healthy doesn't mean that it's necessary healthy. So don't trust the labels.
Oh, love it. Love it. All right. Well, thanks, Claire. I
What are we talking about next week as a little teaser?
Oh, yes. We are talking about the freshman 15.
All
So
right.
it's not
Looking forward
just
to it.
for post high school. This freshman 15 lands in a lot of areas of our life. So let's get ready for that episode.
All right. Let's do it.